Imagine a world without the Moldau River surging through music. Picture a Czech Republic stripped of its sonic soul. This was nearly the reality without Bedřich Smetana, the father of Czech music. His impact on music is profound, echoing through generations of composers and resonating with audiences worldwide. Smetana's story is one of passion, perseverance, and the potent fusion of music and national identity. Born in 1824, Smetana emerged from a period where Czech music was overshadowed by foreign influences. He dared to dream of a distinct Czech sound, a musical language that reflected the soul of his people. His journey was not one of easy melodies and instant acclaim. Instead, it was a symphony of hardships, triumphs, and ultimately a legacy that shaped Czech music forever. This essay explores the life and legacy of Bedřich Smetana, delving into the events and influences that forged his musical identity. Join us as we trace the footsteps of a musical revolutionary, a man who dared to give his nation a voice. Bedřich Smetana's childhood was steeped in the melodies of his homeland. Born in a small Czech town nestled in the Bohemian countryside, young Bedřich was surrounded by the sounds of folk music. His father, a brewer by trade but a music enthusiast at heart, nurtured his son's early interest in music. The elder Smetana played violin in a string quartet, often practicing in their home and filling it with lively tunes. This early exposure to music ignited a spark in Bedřich, a spark that would later grow into a blazing passion. At the tender age of 5, he began learning the piano, his small fingers dancing across the keys. His natural talent was undeniable, and by the age of 6, he was already performing in public. His performances, marked by a youthful exuberance and a natural musicality, captivated those who heard him play. This early recognition cemented Smetana's love for music, setting the stage for his future endeavors. His childhood was not solely dedicated to music, though. He received a well-rounded education, excelling in his studies and showing a particular aptitude for languages and literature. This well-rounded upbringing would later influence his compositions, imbuing them with a depth and complexity that transcended mere musicality. Smetana's music was not just about pleasing melodies, it was about capturing the essence of his homeland. He yearned to express the struggles, triumphs, and unique spirit of the Czech people through his compositions. At the time, Czech lands were under Habsburg rule, and their cultural identity was suppressed. Smetana's music became a form of resistance, a powerful statement of national pride. He drew inspiration from Czech folk music, weaving its rhythms and melodies into his own creations. His work resonated deeply with his fellow countrymen. It was a sonic representation of their shared heritage, a powerful reminder of their cultural identity in a time of political oppression. Smetana's operas, in particular, played a pivotal role in shaping Czech national consciousness. He masterfully blended music and drama to tell stories deeply rooted in Czech folklore and history. Works like The Bartered Bride, with its lively dances and charming characters, became immensely popular. They weren't just operas, they were celebrations of Czech culture, performed in the Czech language, further solidifying their importance in the hearts of the people. Bedřich Smetana's birthplace, Litomyšl, was a small town pulsating with a vibrant musical culture. Nestled in the heart of Bohemia, the town was renowned for its annual feast of St. Procopius, where music flowed freely alongside the celebratory mead. This festive atmosphere, imbued with traditional Czech songs and dances, seeped into the very core of young Bedřich's being. His father, František Smetana, wasn't a professional musician but a brewer by trade. However, František possessed a deep love for music, a passion he instilled in his son. He played the violin with an amateur quartet, their home resonating with the sounds of Haydn, Mozart, and the popular dance tunes of the day. These early musical experiences were Bedřich's first steps into a world that would become his lifeblood. He absorbed the melodies, the rhythms, and the sheer joy of music making, his prodigious talent revealing itself at an astonishingly young age. At 5, he began formal piano lessons, his tiny fingers already exhibiting a natural dexterity and an innate understanding of musical phrasing. His progress was nothing short of remarkable. He blossomed under the tutelage of local music teachers, soaking up knowledge like a sponge and soon surpassing his instructors in both skill and understanding. By 6, he was performing publicly. His performances a charming spectacle that left audiences awestruck by the talent emanating from such a young boy. While music was the undeniable force coursing through Bedřich's veins, his formal education was not neglected. He attended the local primary school in Litomyšl, excelling in his studies and demonstrating a keen intellect that extended beyond the realm of music. Languages fascinated him, and he displayed a particular affinity for German, a skill that would prove invaluable in his later years. In 1831, when Bedřich was 7, his family relocated to Jindřichův Hradec, a move prompted by his father's aspirations for a more lucrative position. This relocation proved to be a significant turning point in the young musician's life. Jindřichův Hradec boasted a more cosmopolitan atmosphere compared to Litomyšl, exposing Bedřich to a wider range of musical styles and influences. Here he encountered the works of Beethoven and Schubert, their romantic sensibilities leaving an indelible mark on his developing musical voice. He continued his piano studies with new teachers, immersing himself in the intricacies of classical music theory and composition. Beyond the formal lessons, Bedřich's musical world expanded through his own explorations. He devoured sheet music, eagerly studying the works of the great masters and experimenting with composing his own pieces. He formed a small chamber ensemble with friends, their rehearsals filled with the youthful exuberance of making music together, further nurturing his passion and honing his collaborative skills. As Bedřich's teenage years unfolded, so too did his musical ambitions. He began composing with increasing fervor, his early pieces reflecting the diverse influences he had absorbed, the classical structures of Mozart, the dramatic flair of Beethoven, and the nascent romantic spirit of Schubert. Yet amidst these influences, a unique voice was beginning to emerge, a voice that hinted at the future direction of his musical journey. His compositions from this period, while often derivative of his idols, displayed flashes of originality, a boldness in harmonic progressions, a lyrical quality to his melodies, and a rhythmic vitality that hinted at the folk music deeply ingrained in his subconscious. He experimented with different forms, composing piano pieces, chamber works, and even attempting a symphony, all the while seeking to define his unique musical identity. However, his musical aspirations were met with resistance from his father. František, a pragmatic man, envisioned a more secure future for his son, one rooted in a respectable profession. He discouraged Bedřich's musical pursuits, urging him to focus on his academic studies and consider a career in law or medicine. This conflict between passion and practicality created a rift between father and son. Bedřich, torn between filial duty and his burgeoning artistic spirit, found himself at a crossroads. He continued his studies, enrolling in a gymnasium in Plzeň in 1839, but his heart remained firmly tethered to the world of music. The year 1843 marked a pivotal turning point in Bedřich Smetana's life. After completing his studies at the gymnasium in Plzeň, he moved to Prague, the cultural heart of Bohemia and a city teeming with artistic energy. This move was a declaration of independence, a bold step towards embracing his musical destiny despite his father's reservations. Prague in the 1840s was a city on the cusp of change. The Czech national revival was gaining momentum, a movement that sought to celebrate and revitalize Czech language, culture and identity after centuries of Habsburg rule. This burgeoning national spirit resonated deeply with Smetana, igniting within him a desire to contribute to the movement through his music. He immersed himself in the city's vibrant musical scene, attending concerts and operas and seeking out mentors who could guide him on his chosen path. He found a kindred spirit in Josef Proksch, a renowned pianist and composer who recognized Smetana's talent and took him under his wing. Under Proksch's tutelage, Smetana's musical abilities flourished. He honed his piano skills, mastering the intricacies of technique and interpretation. He delved deeper into composition, studying counterpoint, fugue, and the art of orchestration. Proksch, recognizing Smetana's innate talent, encouraged him to embrace his Czech heritage and explore the possibilities of creating a distinctly national musical style. As Smetana navigated his musical development in Prague, life took an unexpected turn. He fell deeply in love with Katerina Kolarova, a talented young pianist. Their shared passion for music formed a strong bond. They married in 1849. However, their happiness was short-lived. Tragedy struck in 1854 when their eldest daughter succumbed to scarlet fever. This devastating loss plunged Smetana into profound grief. Smetana channeled his grief into his music, reflecting raw emotions of loss and longing. Establishing a stable musical career in 1840s, Prague was daunting. Smetana, newly married, navigated freelance music teaching and performance. He gave private piano lessons to young pupils from affluent families. He and Katerina held musical soirees, gathering Prague's intellectual elite. These gatherings showcased his compositions and those of his contemporaries. Katerina often joined him in performing duets, their love for music evident. Fate led him far from Prague into a period of profound growth. In 1856, an unexpected opportunity arose, one that would dramatically alter the course of Smetana's life. He received an invitation to establish a music institute in Gothenburg, Sweden. The offer, while promising professional recognition and financial stability, presented a heart-wrenching dilemma. Leaving Prague, the city that had nurtured his artistic spirit and embraced his burgeoning talent, was a painful prospect. The thought of parting from his beloved Katerina, who was expecting their third child, filled him with trepidation. Yet, the allure of leading his own institute, of shaping the musical landscape of a new city, proved too strong to resist. And so, with a heavy heart, but a spirit buoyed by a sense of adventure, Smetana embarked on the long journey north to Gothenburg. The city, perched on Sweden's west coast, was a stark contrast to the familiar warmth of Prague. The language was unfamiliar, the customs different, and a sense of isolation settled upon him. Despite the challenges, Smetana threw himself into his new role with characteristic vigor. He established the Gothenburg Society of Music Lovers, an organization dedicated to promoting musical education and appreciation within the city. Section 3. The Swedish Symphony. Gothenburg, though geographically distant from Prague, provided Smetana with a fertile ground for artistic exploration. Freed from the immediate pressures of establishing himself within the competitive Prague music scene, he found himself able to experiment more freely, to delve deeper into his own creative voice. He immersed himself in the works of the great Romantic composers, Berlioz, Liszt, and Wagner, their innovative approaches to harmony, orchestration, and program music, leaving a profound impact on his own compositional style. He composed prolifically during his time in Gothenburg, his output reflecting a newfound confidence and a willingness to push the boundaries of traditional forms. He completed his first symphony, a work that hinted at the epic scope and nationalistic fervor that would characterize his later masterpieces. The symphony, premiered in Gothenburg in 1858 to critical acclaim, showcased Smetana's growing mastery of orchestral color and his ability to weave together intricate themes and evocative melodies. Beyond his own compositions, Smetana's time in Gothenburg was marked by a deep engagement with Swedish music and culture. He studied the works of Swedish composers, incorporating elements of their folk idioms into his own music. He conducted performances of Swedish operas and choral works, earning the respect and admiration of his Swedish colleagues and audiences. Section 4. Yearning for home. Despite his artistic successes in Gothenburg, a profound sense of longing for his homeland gnawed at Smetana's soul. He missed the warmth of his family, the lively intellectual debates in Prague's cafes, and the familiar sounds and rhythms of the Czech language. Letters from Katerina, filled with news of their daughters and the latest happenings in Prague, provided both solace and a painful reminder of his distance from all he held dear. The political climate in Bohemia was also undergoing a period of transformation. The grip of Habsburg rule was loosening, and a surge of Czech nationalism was sweeping through the land. Smetana, his heart stirred by news from home, yearned to be part of this movement for national revival, to contribute his musical voice to the growing chorus of Czech identity. His compositions from this period reflected this yearning, his melodies infused with a melancholic beauty, a blend of Swedish lyricism and a deep-seated Czech soul. He began incorporating Czech folk melodies more explicitly into his works, their simple beauty and heartfelt emotions resonating with his own longing for home. In 1859, tragedy struck once more. Smetana received news of the death of his beloved daughter Gabriela, a child who had brought him much joy and solace during his years in Gothenburg. This devastating loss, coupled with his growing homesickness, made remaining in Sweden unbearable. Section 1. Return to Prague. A turning point. The year 1861 marked a pivotal year in Bedřich Smetana's life. The death of his daughter Gabriela had shattered his heart. He bid farewell to Gothenburg, carrying a wealth of musical experience. Prague welcomed him back with open arms, its streets buzzing with energy. The grip of Habsburg rule was weakening, and a spirit of cultural resurgence permeated Czech life. Smetana threw himself into the city's vibrant artistic scene. He found Prague's musical landscape vastly different. Czech music was now experiencing a surge in popularity. Theatres were staging Czech operas, orchestras performing works by Czech composers. Smetana, despite his personal grief, was invigorated by this artistic ferment. He took on the role of conductor of the choral society Hlahol. He also became a respected music critic championing Czech composers. The resurgence of Czech national identity found its most potent expression in the realm of theatre. For centuries, Czech-language opera had been suppressed, deemed inferior to the grand operatic traditions of Italy, France and Germany. But with the growing desire for cultural independence, the need for a dedicated Czech opera house became paramount. In 1862, this dream was realized with the opening of the Provisional Theatre in Prague, a temporary structure erected with funds raised entirely through public subscription. This modest wooden building, far from the grandeur of established European opera houses, became a symbol of Czech artistic aspirations, a crucible where a new national operatic tradition would be forged. Smetana, recognizing the significance of this moment, poured his heart and soul into the Provisional Theatre. He was appointed the theatre's first conductor, a position that allowed him to shape the artistic direction of the nascent company. He assembled a talented roster of singers, musicians and stagehands, all united by a shared passion for Czech music and a desire to create something truly exceptional. The Provisional Theatre became Smetana's artistic home, a place where his musical vision could flourish. He conducted performances of operas by Czech and international composers, ensuring that the repertoire reflected both the richness of the European operatic tradition and the unique voice of Czech music. However, it was his own operas, works that drew inspiration from Czech history, folklore, and the very soul of his people, that would cement his legacy as the father of Czech opera. On May 30th, 1866, the Provisional Theatre premiered Bedřich Smetana's The Bartered Bride. This comic opera, filled with infectious melodies and lively dances, was an instant success. Its tunes quickly spread beyond the theatre walls and into the streets of Prague. The Bartered Bride tells a timeless story set in a rural Bohemian village. It revolves around the love of Marenka and Yearning, complicated by a scheming marriage broker. Smetana's music captures the opera's humor, romance, and celebration of Czech village life. His melodies, infused with Czech folk music, draw audiences into the heart of the story. While the Bartered Bride showcased Smetana's mastery of comic opera, his cycle of 6 symphonic poems, Vlast, My Fatherland, stands as a testament to his profound love for his homeland. Composed between 1874 and 1879, Vlast is a musical journey through Bohemia, depicting its natural beauty and legendary past. From the majestic opening chords of Vyšehrad to the triumphant finale of Blanik, Vlast is a sonic tapestry of Czech history and mythology. The most famous movement is Vltava, the Moldau, a musical depiction of Bohemia's iconic river. Vlast stands as a towering achievement in Czech music, transcending national boundaries and speaking to universal love for one's homeland. At the height of his creative powers, just as his music was achieving international acclaim and his position as the father of Czech music was firmly established, fate dealt Bedřich Smetana a cruel blow. In 1874, while composing Vlast, he began to experience symptoms that would dramatically alter the course of his life. A persistent ringing in his ears, accompanied by a gradual loss of hearing. The diagnosis was devastating. Smetana was suffering from syphilis, a disease that was tragically common in the 19th century and often led to severe neurological complications, including deafness. The realization that he was losing his most precious sense, the very foundation of his artistic being, plunged him into despair. He wrote in his diary of his anguish, describing the constant ringing in his ears as a raging inferno and expressing his fear that his musical career was over. The irony was not lost on him. The composer who had given voice to a nation was now facing the prospect of silence. Despite the devastating diagnosis, Smetana refused to give up hope. He sought medical treatment, hoping to halt the progression of the disease, but his efforts proved futile. His hearing continued to deteriorate, and by 1879 he was completely deaf. The world that had once been filled with the sounds of music, the laughter of his children, and the bustle of Prague's streets had become a silent void. Smetana's deafness could have silenced his creative voice, but his spirit proved indomitable. He continued to compose, drawing inspiration from his inner world and belief in music's power. He used innovative techniques to overcome his deafness, relying on his inner ear, his string quartet. From My Life reflects his life's journey, joy, pain and isolation. Despite his challenges, Smetana's music remained vibrant and innovative, a testament to the human spirit. As Smetana's deafness progressed and his physical health deteriorated, his legacy as the father of Czech music became increasingly secure. His operas, symphonies and chamber works were performed throughout Bohemia and beyond. Their popularity a testament to their enduring appeal and their importance in shaping a distinct Czech national musical identity. A new generation of Czech composers, inspired by Smetana's example, emerged, eager to build upon the foundation he had laid. Antonín Dvořák, Leos Janáček and Josef Suk, all deeply influenced by Smetana's music and his unwavering commitment to Czech national themes, would go on to achieve international acclaim, ensuring that Czech music remained a vital force in the European musical landscape. Smetana, despite his declining health, took great pride in the achievements of his musical heirs, recognizing in their works a continuation of his own artistic vision. He continued to attend musical events whenever possible, his presence a source of inspiration and encouragement to young musicians. He remained an influential figure in Prague's musical life, his opinions respected, his advice sought after. Even as his physical world shrunk, his musical world expanded, his legacy taking root and flourishing in the hearts and minds of a new generation. A new musical language. forging a Czech sound. Bedřich Smetana's most profound contribution to Czech music lies in his creation of a distinct and recognizable Czech sound. He drew inspiration from Czech folk music, weaving its essence into his compositions. The lively rhythms of the polka and furiant infused his works with a distinctly Czech flavor. Through his music, Smetana gave voice to the soul of a nation. Opera as a national stage reflecting the Czech soul. Smetana recognized opera's power for national expression. Under Habsburg rule, opera told Czech stories and showcased culture. The Bartered Bride epitomizes this approach. Dalibor tackled grand historical themes. Libus delved into Czech mythology. Smetana established a Czech operatic tradition. Beyond the stage chamber, music and symphonic visions. Smetana's string quartets and piano trios showcase his gift for intimate dialogue and emotional depth. His first string quartet, From My Life, is a musical autobiography reflecting his joys, sorrows, and encroaching deafness. In orchestral music, his cycle of symphonic poems, Vlast, paints vibrant portraits of Bohemia's history and landscape. Smetana's contributions to Czech music extended beyond his own compositions. As conductor of Hlahol and the Provisional Theatre, he nurtured a new generation of Czech musicians. He promoted Czech music as a critic, urging audiences to embrace their own composers. Smetana mentored younger composers like Dvorak, fostering a thriving musical culture. Bedřich Smetana's legacy as the father of Czech music remains potent today. His operas and symphonic poems are celebrated as national treasures. The Bartered Bride and Vlast resonate globally, transcending cultural barriers. Smetana's music continues to inspire, uniting listeners with its universal appeal. Bedřich Smetana's impact on Czech music cannot be overstated. He envisioned a Czech sound, reflecting the soul of his people. His operas and symphonic poems became powerful symbols of Czech identity. Smetana laid the groundwork for a vibrant Czech musical tradition. Beyond Czech borders, international recognition and influence. Smetana's operas, especially The Bartered Bride, are staples of the international repertoire. Vltava from Vlast is instantly recognizable worldwide. His influence extends to composers like Dvorak and beyond, inspiring musical nationalism. Honoring a legacy, memorials, institutions, and artistic tributes. Statues and the Smetana Museum in Prague honor his legacy. Concert halls and festivals celebrate his contributions. Smetana's music is woven into Czech daily life, symbolizing national pride. Smetana's music continues to resonate globally, transcending time and culture. His ability to capture human emotion and natural beauty ensures his music's relevance. Smetana's story of personal tragedy and artistic triumph inspires artists and audiences. His belief in music's power to unite remains a powerful message today. Bedřich Smetana's life was a complex and moving symphony. He faced personal tragedies but emerged with renewed passion for his art. Smetana used music as a tool for national expression and challenged musical norms. His life and music continue to resonate, inspiring audiences with their beauty and strength. The true measure of an artist's legacy lies in the enduring power of their work. Smetana's music, born from national pride and personal passion, remains timeless. The Bartered Bride and Vltava continue to delight and transport audiences. Smetana's legacy extends beyond music, inspiring resilience and creativity. Bedřich Smetana's story is a testament to the transformative power of music. His life and work inspire musicians and dreamers to create meaningful art. Smetana's music unites us, celebrating shared humanity and resilience. His legacy reminds us to embrace our unique voices and pursue our dreams.